So what we have here is a pretty unusual machine. This is a kiosk computer that was used to send MoneyGram transfers. Now, you'd usually find these things in retail stores or pharmacies, and I'm guessing that that's where this one came from. Fortunately for us, it still works, and it even looks to have the original software on it. So today we're going to explore the hardware inside this thing, see what the hard drive contains, and yeah, we'll probably try and run some games on it or something. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So I gotta say, specialized computers like this are one of my favorite things to take a look at on this channel because the inner workings of these are something that most people never get to see. But I saw this one for sale recently, and all I know about it from the seller is that it was put out of service and the touchscreen doesn't work. Those two things might be related, who knows, but aside from that, this thing doesn't have any damage on it at all because it is built like a tank. All of the components are housed in this metal enclosure that does have this like plastic layer on top here, but yeah, it's just built extremely well, which of course it has to be for the environment that this would have been used in. And from what I've seen in some photos online, these would typically be secured to a table or attached to a stand with MoneyGram branding on it. When I got this one, it was just covered in retail, so it needed a good cleaning pretty much all around. Now to get inside this thing, all you do is just swing open the front of it like this, and yeah, you've got access to everything. Okay, well, it's not that easy. I mean, there is a lock here on the side you have to open up before you can swing the door open. And fortunately, this one was already unlocked because I don't actually have the key for it. So I went ahead and just removed the locking bar from the inside here. But still, of course, very, very easy to get inside and service. I mean, of course, they want the technicians working on this not to have to switch their screwdriver bit 5 different times. So I guess we'll start by taking a look at the computer right here and just kind of go from there. So all we have on it identification-wise are just a couple stickers. We have what looks like the manufacturer name right there. We have an app version number, an image version number, and what looks like a date code down there for the last time the battery was replaced. All of your I/O is located on the right side. So we've got power, we got a couple USB devices plugged in, audio, Ethernet, display down there. And then this, I believe, is for the wireless antenna. It's definitely for an antenna because it says so right up here. This is where it connects to. This top black piece right here is the antenna, but I'm assuming it is the wireless antenna so that if you didn't have access to an Ethernet jack, you could still, have this thing be usable. Down here towards the bottom, we can see the name of the display manufacturer. It's a very familiar company to those people who have seen my touchscreen iMac G3 video. And to those who haven't, yeah, that was a real thing, believe it or not. This is Elo. They are a very big manufacturer of kiosk touchscreens and POS touchscreens. They're a very big name in this space. We also have a model number down here from MoneyGram, apparently 2828. A couple warning labels. It looks like that this actual system was put together by a company named Kiosk Information Systems, very creative, of course. Down here, we've got the card reader, which connects to the computer over USB. And I have to say, the cable management in this thing is pretty well done. I mean, they've got everything routed in here very nicely. You've got the power supply for the computer up here. That, as well as the monitor, plug into this Y cable, which then runs along here to the other side and plugs into this Belkin power strip. And it looks like they really didn't want you plugging anything else into here. They've got these two unused plugs covered up by these stop stickers. And then the only other thing plugged in are the speakers. So here's the power supply for them down here. We have one on each side. So there's one and there's the other. And then in the center here, we have this control board where, everything plugs into power, input and output. We've got tone and volume dials and your power switch down there. And then the power strip connects to this extension cable, which runs out the back, and that's what you actually plug into the wall. So it's one power cable for everything, which is rather nice. You have the same thing going on with the Ethernet. That connects to this block right here, and then a cable plugs into that and runs out the back, and that's where you would hook it up to the network. So yeah, a pretty well put together system. Oh, and by the way, since I don't think I've mentioned it yet, all of this weighs in at about 60 pounds, which, yeah, I think makes it the heaviest computer that I currently have in my collection. Of course, the metal casing is definitely responsible for a lot of it. Alright, so we're just about ready to power this thing on. One quick thing worth mentioning though, there's no power button on the exterior of this thing at all, which again is probably by design so that somebody using this doesn't accidentally or intentionally turn it off. So you just literally plug in the power cable and everything auto starts up. So here we go, and oh yeah, okay, I should rephrase something that I said earlier. ELO did not manufacture the monitor, Dell did, judging by the splash screen that we just saw. They just manufactured the digitizer, you know, for the touchscreen and everything that goes with the monitor. And by the way, I've got a USB hub plugged in to the back of this, so, you know, I've got a USB keyboard and mouse plugged in. I came up with Windows error recovery because this was not powered off properly last time, so we're just going to start Windows normally. And yeah, this is running Windows 7, or, well, probably like Windows Embedded Standard 7 or something similar. We'll have to verify that. All that I've done is I have checked to make sure that it powers on and boots into something. I've not actually taken a look at the software, but you saw that MoneyGram splash screen. That's why I said earlier that it looks like everything is still on this hard drive, because this appears to be whatever software was on it originally. So this is what it boots up to, but then it immediately goes to this Kiosk is enjoying some needed maintenance screen, because I don't actually have this connected to the network at the moment. We will try that a little bit later on, but I wanted to see if we could like Alt-Tab or, you know, just get out of this. So it looks like we can. We've got MoneyGram and the supervisor. It looks like the supervisor application is still loading up. Can we just hit like the Windows key? We can't. Can we do like a control escape? No. So they probably have some group policy settings on this user account to, you know, prevent you from getting out of the Kiosk app. Although it is interesting that you can Alt-Tab. Of course, well, I mean, it's not like you'd be able to do that if you were just a user of this thing, because, you know, you would just have access to the touchscreen, which, yeah, by the way, you can see I'm tapping it here. It doesn't appear to do anything. I might check the connection. It looked like everything was plugged in normally, but, you know, we'll just mess around with the software a little bit and see if it's even recognizing it. We do have this Windows error that is just saying, what, you must restart your computer to apply these changes. I don't know what changes it would be applying, but it looks like that this manager application is just perpetually loading. Can we do like a Control-Alt-Delete? We can. From this MoneyGram background that they've got, you can't actually read the text on these options, which is kind of funny. But it looks like we only have one option. Because, yeah, I mean, I can't mouse over anything else. We don't see any other arrows, and I can't use the arrow keys to go up. So, yeah, I guess we'll just do whatever this is. Oh, that was probably logging out. Okay, yeah, that brings us back to the login screen. And it's not like we're going to get a list of users on this screen, because this makes you enter in the username and password, is the way they have it set up. I guess we'll just restart since Windows wanted us to do that anyway. It's funny, you can't see the text that says it's restarting. Okay, you know what? I was going to do this later, but let's see what happens if we connect this to the network before it has fully started up. I'm curious if that maintenance screen that we saw earlier goes away. Okay, hang on a second. Is this, like, there's no way this actually still works with... What? Does this act, like, is this, like, connected to whatever MoneyGram service right now? Like, I thought this was decommissioned. I mean, maybe it is still. Let's try to go to send money. Okay, sellers and telemarketers can't take money transfer payments from people in the US for something they're selling through telemarketing. No, we're not sending money for something a telemarketer sold us. IRS scam, taxpayers are encouraged to be alert. Yeah, so that, you know, it's just letting you know about all the, like, tech support scams and IRS scams and stuff that try to use MoneyGram to get people to send them money. It looks like the session is about to time out. Yes, we do need more time to complete this task. I believe you have to do some identity verification with MoneyGram. I'm not actually going to try and send money through this thing. So, you know, so it does ask you for your phone number and stuff. But that's interesting that we can still get to this interface. I didn't even think that would work. Let's see what else we've got in here. We can estimate fees. Let's see what that is. No. And got it. So let's say send to a person. Oh, and look at that. It seems we have a problem. Please call MoneyGram at this 800 number. So, okay, maybe this does in fact not work because, yeah, it's just, you know, and this is just going into check prices. Okay, I just went back into the send money screen, entered in a real phone number, and it brought us to this same exact error screen. So, yeah, MoneyGram has probably already deactivated this on their end, which, I mean, would make sense. That's probably why it was able to be sold in the first place. What is MoneyGram Plus Rewards? Is this like a loyalty program? You could join and enjoy these member-only benefits. Okay, you get like some percentages off your second money transfer and your fifth money transfer. Or 40% off your fee after every fifth money transfer. I'm assuming that's per month. Exclusive promotions, premier status after your fifth money transfer with even more benefits. So let's see, continue here. Asks us for our phone number. Oh, and I can't even hit continue here, like, after entering in a phone number. So let's see what happens if I yank the Ethernet cable out. Is it just going to immediately go back to that maintenance screen? That would be my guess. Oh, look, okay, we can still get here. Let's try maybe receive money. This is where it's probably gonna... Oh, wait, 8-digit reference number? Okay. I mean, we can enter a bogus reference number in here. And, yeah, I mean, hitting continue just brings up the loading screen, but then it just goes back to here. So, yeah, I mean, we are offline at this point. But that's cool that we can still get to this interface and, you know, mess around with it. But let's see if I hit Alt-Tab... There's this supervisor application that I'd like to get into and see what that is. Of course, it looks like it did not change over because we still have this alert here. I mean, let's just say, yes, transaction will be canceled. And then it just says we can't proceed. Okay, so here we go. You can Alt-Tab, loading application. I guess we'll just wait here and see what happens. Alright, well, we've been sitting on this screen for about 10 minutes, and I even plugged it back into the network, and yeah, it's definitely not getting anywhere. It just looks like it's perpetually loading. So, yeah, I guess we are going to power off this system. I'll go ahead and put in good old Hiren's boot CD, and we'll try and do the set HC bypass to change the password on the administrator account and enable it if it's not already enabled. So, let's just go down here and shut it down, get this disk in our USB drive. Oh yeah, and what do you think the BIOS key is on this? I'm trying F2 and delete at the same time. Let's see if that gets us anywhere. Enter password. Oh, dang. That's kind of a problem. It's not blank, so, I don't know, MoneyGram? Yeah, no, invalid. Not gonna be that easy. Oh, now it's not even going back to the entry screen. I think when you enter in a wrong password too many times, it just locks you out and you have to restart, so we'll do that. How about we try, can we do like F12 or something to get to, I mean, all I need to get to is a boot menu. Okay, well, F12 brings us to the same password screen, so do you think that's the boot menu and you need a password for that too? Because all I was pressing before was F2 and delete. Alright, the only thing we can hope for is that the machine is just configured to boot off of a USB DVD drive before the hard drive, which yeah, not the case at all. Oh, well, I was pressing F9 and F10, and one of those got us to this system information screen. So we can see some of the specifications. It looks like this was powered by an Intel Celeron, and we have a model name and a BIOS version. So it looks like this is a gigabyte motherboard. I wonder if there's like a default password on it, which, I mean, there probably isn't. Is there a way to reset the password? Well, I think the boot menu is F12 and it's locked behind that password, but I did find the motherboard manual, and it does tell you how to clear the CMOS values by shorting these two pins together. So, yeah, I guess we're gonna crack this thing open and try that. Now, it would be really cool if I could take this cover off without needing to, you know, take, like, the whole computer out of this case. So I'm gonna remove this one here. There's this nut that, that comes out, and that just comes off. These other ones, though, these screw, I don't, yeah, that's not gonna work. I might actually have to get, like, a small wrench for that. Everything's gonna have to come unplugged, of course, so I guess we'll just do that. So there's the display cable. We'll remove the antenna cables here. And then Ethernet. the USB cables and audio and power. So that's everything. Okay, it turns out I can use this nut driver, so that makes my job a lot easier. And yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if this is just like the case that I'm removing, or if this is like this might just be the entire computer just mounted in here that I'm going to be taking out, which is not really what I wanted, but I mean, it's too late to turn back now, I suppose. Okay, those 4 nuts are out, but it still seems like this is attached to something. Oh, there's this. Okay, that might, there's a screw right up here. Looks like it's securing this top corner here. So let's try to get that out. That, by the way, is the screw for this cable harness here. So we can just kind of pull that out of the way. And there we go. So it looks like there are 3 screws on this case here. So let's get them undone. And does that just slide off or lift up? What does it do? Oh, there's actually a couple more screws. One on the left side, one on the right side. So we'll get this one going and flip it around and do this one. And yeah, that seems a lot looser. Perfect. So I guess while we're here, we can take a closer look inside of this thing. So we've got a Transcend 2.5-inch solid-state drive. It looks to be 64 gigs in size. We have our RAM here. This one is 4 gigs. So I'm sure this one is, yep, it's also 4 gigs. So we have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Go ahead and pop that back into place. And then if we have the computer laid out like this, we are looking for those 2 right there. Yep, it says CMOS, or clear CMOS rather. So all we have to do is just take a screwdriver and touch these 2 pins together for a little bit, and that should clear the CMOS memory. So with that done, I would like to, plug this thing in without like fully reconnecting, like, screwing it in and everything to the inside of the kiosk here, just to make sure that it actually worked. So I think what I'm going to do is just plug in the display and power and just literally like rest it on these screws here on the bottom, these like standoffs here, and just, yeah, I think that'll work. I'll just be very careful with it, of course. Oh, enter password. It still says enter password. So that didn't work. See, it's a good thing I didn't put everything back. That would have been really annoying. Okay, let's just try to remove the CMOS battery itself. Nope, even with the CMOS battery out, it still retains the BIOS password, so I wonder if we can get to the boot menu. Can we try to, like, just do F12? Nope, that still brings us here. Okay, I just tried to short the CMOS reset pins again, letting the screwdriver stay on it for even longer now, and I also replaced the battery, and yeah, it still gets us here to this password screen. Yeah, from what I've been reading, it seems like these newer systems don't actually store the BIOS password information in the CMOS battery, so we probably have reset the CMOS, but the password is still retained, and it doesn't look like something that can be easily reset. So I'm gonna have to find another way to boot off of the CD. Okay, so I've decided that to make things a little bit easier for us, I'm just going to take out this hard drive, put it into another computer, and do everything on there. So yeah, it looks like we just have a couple of screws to remove from the top here. And then the drive comes out. We'll go ahead and unplug it. And we'll hook it up to this adapter. And it looks like it has detected the USB drive because the total size of this disk is 59.6 gigs. That is on track with the size of the SSD. So we'll hop in here. And yeah, down here, WES7 prepare.log. I'm assuming Windows Embedded Standard 7. This has a date of 10/3/2014, 64-bit AMD 64, and yeah, Kiosk admin as the current user. So I wonder if that's the name of the account that it was auto-logging us into. It could certainly be, but we're going to go into Windows, we're going to go into System 32, and we're going to find the CMD program. We're going to make a copy of that and just paste it in here. And then we need to find sethc, rename that. Just add .old there on the end, and then find our copied CMD and rename that to sethc.exe. So now we can open up a command prompt on the login screen and get access to the system account. Of course, we first have to put this whole thing back together. I've already got the hard drive back in here, so we'll just reinsert this up in here, and then we just have to screw on these nuts. And with that, we are all set. All right, so here's the moment of truth. We're gonna get this thing powered up, and after I put the USB hub back on the table, we'll wait for the system to power on. Now, I know what I said earlier about like not wanting to reassemble this thing until I've confirmed that it works, and then I just went ahead and did that because I mean this sethc bypass, I've done this so many times and it's worked totally fine. Because, you know, it gives us access to the system account on the login screen. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able just to, you know, create or re-enable the administrator account and go through all of that. But, you know, I may have to take this whole thing apart again. In fact, I think I'm going to have to open it up because it looks like the system is not turning on. There is that power button on the computer in here. Okay, this light wasn't coming on, but it turned out that the power cable going into the computer's power supply somehow got unplugged a little bit, probably when I was moving this whole thing around in here. So it's on, and yes, it is booting. Okay, perfect. So we're going to start Windows normally. And now we're going to do pretty much the same thing I did in that Steam XI3 video. We're just going to hit the Shift key 5 times here on the login screen, and why is that not working? Oh my god. See, what did I tell you? I shouldn't have put it back together, but I did it anyways, and I should not have done that. We should have just checked to make sure that this worked first. So, okay. Evidently, yeah, we can't press Shift 5 times to bring up the sticky keys dialog. They probably have that disabled through like a group policy setting or something, but we can get access to the ease of access menu, so we can take this whole thing apart, change a different executable, and change that. Okay, well, here's a couple of interesting developments. So I tried to replace utilman.exe, which is that little thing that opens up when you click on the ease of access button on the login screen, with CMD in the same way that we just did with sethc, and that actually didn't work. When I restarted the system, got to the login screen, hit that button, it would just do nothing. Now, I'm not 100% sure why that is. I'm thinking that maybe since we've all but confirmed this system is running Windows Embedded Standard 7, perhaps there are some extra security patches or something that like checks what file that you're trying to open when you do click on that button or press Shift 5 times to open up sticky keys. Because now I'm thinking that sticky keys would have worked, it's just that after we replaced it with CMD and renamed it, then it just stopped working, just like with utilman. But for those of you who saw my Steam XI3 video, that thing was running Windows 10, and we were able to do the sethc bypass and get to the command prompt on the login screen just fine. So maybe somebody in the comments will have a explanation as to why that this wasn't able to work. But the good news is, I was able just to press F8 on startup, go to safe mode with command prompt, and we're here in safe mode with command prompt with a command prompt. And it says that it has administrator privileges, so we're going to see if we can just type in net user, and then you see we've got kiosk admin and kiosk user. So we'll try kiosk admin, and the password we'll just do 1234. The command completed successfully. Okay, awesome. We'll do the same with kiosk user. Command completed successfully, and then we'll do net user administrator / active yes, and then we'll change that password to 1234. Well, I should have just tried to do this first, because that would have been far easier than taking this whole thing apart and doing what we just did. But hey, we got it working, that's all that matters, right? Okay, this is some good news. So instead of automatically logging us into, I'm assuming, the kiosk user account, it came up with an error message that I couldn't read because it was white text on top of the white part of this background. But I'm assuming it said incorrect password because it now brings us to this password entry screen. So what we're going to do is click on switch user, and we're going to log in as, let's do the kiosk admin, if I can spell that right. 1234. All right, there we go. I mean, we can't actually see it logging us in, but it is indeed logging us in. And here we are on the desktop. I went ahead and increased the size of everything so that it shows up a little bit better on video here. But yeah, we can actually go into the start menu now and see what programs that we have installed, which it already doesn't look like a whole lot. Although interestingly, we've got Winderstat on here. That's kind of cool to see. We have a subsystem for Unix-based applications. There's just a download link in there for that. I wonder if that is a component of Windows Embedded Standard 7 that's just on here. In fact, let's go to what's new here, and that does open up in the Help viewer. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's for running Unix-based applications on a computer running a Microsoft Windows Server class operating system. By the way, when I was getting this all set up, I did touch the screen, and yeah, the touchscreen actually works. I think it just, like, maybe it was disabled or something in that other account, or it didn't have the driver loaded. It wouldn't make any sense for it to be disabled because, I mean, that's how you would have to use it, right? There's no keyboard or mouse plugged into this. But yeah, I mean, watch the mouse pointer. It does move. It just needs to be calibrated. So I'm hoping there's a tool in here that allows us to do that. But let's go back in here. We do have this Kaseya agent number 2. This might be the touchscreen kiosk software. Starts agent service, and it's got a machine group ID and a server address. Maybe that's for, connecting this to the MoneyGram network. But if it's not the kiosk application, I don't know what is the kiosk application because, I mean, we don't have anything in the startup folder under this admin account. Maintenance is all standard stuff. Games, we just have the Games Explorer accessories. Looks all standard. So maybe, it's just not installed for this user. But, we'll go into the hard drive and check that out. But yeah, let's just run this. We'll do number 1. This might be something that just runs in the background. In fact, yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. First connection attempt to the K server in progress. Okay, I see we have an option to disable remote control. So this was probably for like remote access, for a technician, whoever would be working on this, whether that be somebody at MoneyGram or some company they had contracted out. And we've got, some more information about it here. So yeah, that's number 1. Can we start 1 and 2 at the same time? No, I think that just opens up the same thing because we have, it's just one icon down here in the system tray. So maybe that's like a different server address? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. These are 2 different IP addresses that it connects to. So I guess depending on which one, but this is the thing, you would probably want to have this running constantly so that, somebody remotely could always get access to it. Or maybe whoever was on site would have to log into this account and then start one of these so that somebody could access it remotely and do whatever they needed to do. So I guess that means that the actual kiosk application is not installed for this admin user. Again, we do have Winderstat, but it looks like, Windows cannot find C program files, Winderstat. So maybe this was installed by somebody servicing this at some point, and then they just removed it, but it didn't get rid of the program group here in the start menu. But let's go into computer. Actually, before we do that, I think we already kind of know this by now, but let's just run a WinVer and see what we've got. So this is, well, we actually don't have a banner here, but it does say the Windows Embedded Standard Operating System and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, this is Windows Embedded Standard 7, and then you got, Windows 7's version number and all of that. So there you go. On the hard drive, we only have 30.5 gigs free, so we're using about half of it here. And let's go into program files and see, okay, we got CrowdStrike on here. Wonder if this was in service during that outage. Default company name, that's a wonderful name for an organization. Watchdog service setup, watchdogwinservice.exe. So that could be another like IT management thing. SQL Server, IE, Media Player, Visual Studio. Nothing. Okay, well, ELO Touch Solutions. So this is going to be the driver for the touchscreen. In fact, I do want to find the calibration tool in here just so we can get that going. I actually saw it running down here in the system tray. Can we just right click on this and define touch zones? Align, maybe? Yeah, that's exactly what I want. So we're going to touch each target firmly and get this calibrated and touch the screen. The cursor should follow my finger, except it's not really doing that. Yeah, it's still, let's try that again. Okay, I did it again, and it still doesn't seem... It's still, like, way off. That's kind of interesting. I mean, I can't even hit the check mark. Let me open up the control panel here and just see what options we get. Okay, we have a normal and an enhanced calibration mode. Why don't we change to the enhanced mode and hit align? Okay, there's way more of these bullseyes to press here. Okay, I just did... It would show like 5 different bullseyes per row, and I did the last one here, and now I guess maybe it brought one like off the screen because I can't I can't see it. Can we just hit enter? And that just restarts it up here again. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. I mean, we can try normal. Let's see if that... No, that's still way off. I mean, I don't even know where the... Yeah, look, like I'm hitting up here and I'm tapping the Windows Explorer icon down there. So it's definitely off. Maybe it thinks the screen area is larger than it actually is. But then again, during the normal calibration, it did just do the 4 corners. And yeah, no, that's still way off. Is there anything else we can change in here? Mode. Okay, mouse emulation. Sound. I actually haven't checked if the sound's working yet. Do we have that? Let's see here. Well, it's got a sound driver installed, but, you know, the speakers might not be on. I'll have to open this thing up and check that in a moment. And then we have Properties 1. This just gives you screen information, so this does connect over USB. It's a DuraTouch touchscreen, and there's the controller model. It says working properly. Identify monitor, there it is. What do we get under advanced? We can disable touch. I mean, nothing in here about, like, calibration. Yeah, that is really interesting. I don't quite... I mean, maybe something is just wrong with the touchscreen. I mean, because I've gone through that calibration, like, 5 or 6 times now. And it just doesn't seem to be getting it, you know, properly calibrated. And it's also interesting that it doesn't load that driver or that service when you boot into the standard Kiosk user account where you would want it to be working. So I'm gonna have to investigate that too. But yeah, we got that in here. We have some Intel stuff and then some uninstall information. What do we have under program files? x86. I'm still trying to find the actual Kiosk application. We have, again, ELO Touch Solutions, though that folder's empty. We have Intel Internet Explorer. We have the Kaseya, however you pronounce it, folder. Winderstat, so there should be just, yeah, nothing in there. And then just your regular Windows stuff. What about on the root of the drive? We got clogs. Is that maybe like logs for the Kiosk thing or the Kaseya program? And then here's a Kiosk folder. So this is, okay, this has to be all of that stuff. So we have DB, device, MoneyGram, and rollback. So I'm assuming MoneyGram will be, yeah, here's Kiosk application MoneyGram.exe. There's also this K working folder, and this is interesting. In here, there's a MoneyGram client exe file. So let's just run this and see what happens. It looks like a self-extracting, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Extracting files to C Kiosk folder. Okay, that made a new staging folder, and it also added this deploy.ps1 file. And in here, we have a DB and a MoneyGram folder, and that's the same thing we have back here, right? DB and MoneyGram. And is this just the same? Yeah, this is the exact same, like, set of applications. We've got, what, 42 items. Let's go into this folder. Okay, this has 123 items, so, well, it's probably all these logs here. You see all these event logs and main logs, so that probably, yeah, supervisor main log, so, you know, those will get created as you use the thing. So, yeah, I'm interested to see, because, you know, we've already taken a look at the MoneyGram main application. Can we launch this supervisor thing now that we're, like, logged into this admin account? Do you think this will actually do anything? It looks like it did launch right here. And that brings up the same loading application thing. So, yeah, I guess now we can just kind of leave this running in the background and just continue exploring the system and just see if this actually does anything. But if it's anything like what we experienced last time, it's just going to sit on the screen indefinitely and do nothing. But yeah, so we've got like a self-extracting zip file for just creating a new set of all those Kiosk files, which is cool. And then I also saw in here We've got another clogs folder. We've got McAfee removal with nothing in it. System with some exes in here, some XML files, a few TXTs. And I also saw this KCS setup, which is that Kaseya agent installer. So I'm wondering if this was maybe like a set of files that was copied over remotely to this computer by like a technician that was working on it to reinstall some of this stuff. There's also this KWorking1 folder. We've got some of those same folders we saw in there. We have a setup log file and a batch file in there as well. And then I think the rest is just standard Windows stuff. And yeah, you can see the setup application is still here on the loading screen. We're just going to minimize this for now, or actually, can we even minimize this? I guess we can do just a Windows key D to get back to the desktop. Because I would like to go into the system properties here and see what we've got going on. So apparently this is a gigabyte model manufactured by Kiosk. And we have an Intel Celeron J1900 CPU running at 1.99 gigahertz. I wonder if that's like a dual core or a quad core thing. Let's run the device manager here. I did actually want to go in here as well to see if there are any things that it's not recognizing. I don't see any question marks, so that's good. But let's go here under processors. So this is a quad core or perhaps a 2-core with 4 threads. Yeah, it looks like everything else here is, I mean, we've got the Intel HD graphics, we've got, oh yeah, sound. I wanted to see, I mean, it looks like it had that already working, but we just don't have it on. So let me open this up, and we'll get that powered on. Oh, jeez. Okay, I guess that can't be super loud. Let's see if that's... Okay, we got it working. And yeah, we already took a look at everything in the start menu. We took a look at the system specs and everything. I also just went through all the user libraries on each of the different user accounts, and yeah, there's nothing contained in there. So I think we are good to move on to trying to run some games on this. So, you know, we'll start with the old classic Half-Life here. I am going to need to, of course, plug in our USB DVD drive. I mean, this game, of course, is not going to be really a challenge for this computer at all, but I am interested in seeing how that it handles it with the touchscreen. Okay, also that... Oh, geez. We're actually getting some... Okay, yeah, that's... The screen's kind of glitching out. I don't think it likes that being plugged in. Okay, we'll unplug it. Okay, does it not like the USB hub? Maybe I can try to plug all this in directly. Yeah, we've got everything just plugged in directly, and now it all seems to work fine. So, we're going to pop in the Half-Life CD. I think I am going to just leave this admin application loading here in the background, because I think it's kind of funny. But we'll just go in here to Explorer and run setup or autorun.exe. Okay, that was interesting. When it was playing the WAV file, the screen was kind of doing that, like, jitteriness that it was doing before. Yes, we will just continue here. So I wonder if there's, like, some weird interference or something going on. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's all because of the speakers. Because earlier before with the USB hub, it was happening when we plugged it in. It was playing the, you know, USB connection sound. Alright, so that completed. We're gonna launch Half-Life. Okay, the sound doesn't seem to be screwing up the display this time. Of course, it's launched Half-Life here in just this tiny window, this tiny little borderless window up here. Alright, let's just go into new game here, and we'll start going through the Black Mesa Transit system. Is it doing this in like 320 by 240? Good morning, and welcome. Oh my gosh, look. Okay, well, so, yeah, we got colors all messed up, and it's running in like a super low resolution. That even looks to be like under 320 by 240, although it's probably what it is. Let's just see in video modes here. So we have no software video modes. That's not a great sign. Direct 3D. We should have a DirectX driver like installed here, right? Wow, I guess not. We have no display modes in that. What about OpenGL? We can do OpenGL. Let's try let's do 800 by 600. And we'll go, oh, not update. We'll go back here. Resume game. There we go. That's a lot better. Although you can see the screen is, yeah, the screen is definitely screwing up. I'm gonna turn off the speakers because I have a feeling that's what's causing this. Yep, that's exactly it. It stopped. Okay, that looks a lot better. I also wired the audio directly into my capture system, so it should sound a lot better too. I'm gonna have to see, maybe that's like a grounding issue or something. I'll have to open this thing back up and check it out. But yeah, I mean, you can see Half-Life, of course, is no real challenge for this system. It's able to run it completely fine. Though, I am really, yeah, the whole touchscreen situation, that is, I mean, we already know that it is, like, it can't seem to be calibrated properly, so it's already kind of unplayable to play any game like this with a touchscreen, but it's probably amplified a lot more now that we don't actually have the thing calibrated and working properly. But yeah, here is Half-Life. It does indeed pass the Half-Life test, no surprise at all. And I gotta say, having this loading application thing just constantly running in the background definitely increases the gameplay experience like tenfold. And I thought we would do one more game before ending off this video, and to change things up a little bit, I went ahead and downloaded an old version of the Dolphin emulator, and I've got an ISO for Super Monkey Ball here. However, before we launch this, I realized that there was one piece of hardware that I haven't demonstrated yet, and that is the card reader. So we're going to see if this works. I'm hoping, I mean, in Device Manager, you saw there was nothing there that was, like, unrecognized. So I've got a Dave & Buster's card here, which has a mag stripe here on the back. We're going to just see if we can open up, like, Run, or just even the search thing here, and swipe it. Nope. Let's go the other way. Nope. Alright, let's try it this way. Alright, that's not looking particularly good. So maybe that isn't working. You know, it might be configured to only activate when the MoneyGram Kiosk program tells it to, so it's not just like constantly on and accepting input and, you know, pasting that input basically in here as if you were typing it out on the keyboard. But yeah, that is kind of unfortunate, so we're not really going to be able to do anything with that. So I guess this is something I'll have to troubleshoot a little bit off camera, but for now, let's go ahead and launch Dolphin and play some Super Monkey Ball. Now, it's been a while since I've used this emulator, but I believe we just go to Open here, we browse for the ISO, and it immediately starts up. So let's see if we can resize this window a little bit. And, oh yeah, so I don't have a USB gamepad or anything plugged in, so we're just going to have to use the keyboard, and we have to figure out how everything is mapped. So we'll go into controller settings, and we've got port 1 as a standard controller. We've got keyboard, so A is X, B is Z, and then the control stick is just the arrow keys, it looks like. So let's go back to the game here, close out of that. It's been a little bit since I've played some Super Monkey Ball, so we're just gonna hop into like the main game here. And we'll do normal mode, and yeah, one player, and oh gosh, who do I want to be? Let's be Gone. And we'll go with the beginner levels because I don't know, I've never played this game on an emulator, at least I don't think. If I have, I've completely forgotten it, but yeah, let's see how I do with the, oh yeah, and okay, a little bit of lag there, but it seems to be able to keep up for the most part. I'm doing pretty awful here. So you can see the FPS counter up there at the top. We are dipping into the 50s a little bit, but oh my gosh, I'm doing awful. Can I just pick up this thing? There we go. Yeah, this is kind of weird playing this with arrow keys. But it does work if you don't have a controller set up. Oh, I didn't want to pause there. I was going to hit enter like to skip through that, but that's the start button. So, alright, yeah, it seems when you kind of spawn in there, you get a little bit of lag, but then it seems to play totally fine. So yeah. Oh, and we made it to stage 5. So here's the one where we can kind of just go through and grab. Oh, and check. Okay, there's definitely a little bit more lag on here. So that is noticeable. You can see where we were dropping into the high 40s there. 30. Oh yeah. So obviously, you know, as it has to render more stuff, it's going to cause the emulation to lag a little bit. But so far, I mean, the game has been totally playable. So we're just gonna collect all these bananas. And yeah, I mean, this is... I know I've already said it probably a couple of times, but yeah, I'm definitely not used to playing this game with a keyboard. But you can certainly do it. We got 2 bananas. We got 1 here. Is there 1 at the... Oh gosh, come on. Come on. Come on. You can do it. It's right there. Just turn. There we go. Okay, 1 banana left. Is that at the goal? I think it is. Is it like, yeah, right here? Oh yeah, there is just no goal on this one. You just have to collect all the bananas. Gosh, I love this music, man. This is really taking me back. So we're gonna hopefully not fall off here, as I just literally fall off. Super cool. Okay, let's try that again. I think it was on this level I tried to kind of cheat before and just like hop off like that. You can see I'm not doing a very good job at it, but I think oh, and yeah, we just died because we used up all our lives. Do we want to continue? Yeah, why don't we continue? And as I go to hit enter, X is A. Okay. So we'll maybe get through a couple more stages here. I feel like that I want to show you guys a decent amount of gameplay on this, since we've been just troubleshooting for the majority of this video. But yeah, I mean, if you were ever wondering if you could play Super Monkey Ball on a MoneyGram kiosk that you can find at like a Walgreens, the answer is yes. So yeah, the more you know, right? Let's get into that goal. There we go. We're up to floor 7. I am missing a lot of these bananas, but you don't have to collect them, except on the stages that you do, like stage 5. But, you know, you obviously get more points if you can get like a perfect score on each of these levels. So I just got the big bunch of bananas there. We'll just slowly make our way into the goal. And I think floor 10 is a good stopping point. I wonder if that might be the ending point for the beginner levels. Or I might just be misremembering that. Oh yeah, check out this. We're definitely dropping frames here with all these boxes moving around. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're at 30 FPS now. Jeez. Let's just slowly make our way over here and hopefully not fall off. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. We're good. That was kind of a close one there. I was almost losing control at the end. Floor number 9. This one, yeah, perfect 60 FPS. At least for the most part. You see it drop to 59 as soon as I said the phrase perfect 60 FPS. That definitely tracks. Here we are on floor 10. And I gotta say, I mean, I'm listening to the audio through just a pair of headphones that I'm wearing right now, and it doesn't sound like it's really lagging at all, so that's good. Of course, I do have the volume pretty low, so I'll have to see how it comes out in editing. And dang it, that was so freaking close. Okay, I really don't want to die here, but we do have some more continues if I'm not mistaken, so we should be okay. But oh my gosh, this is just so weird doing it with these arrow keys. Okay. We can do it, just slowly but surely. Hopefully I'm not going to run out of time. But let's see. Okay. Gotta make it down here. Thinking we just speed up. Okay, that worked. Let's slowly make it across. Okay. And, oh geez, this is going to be... No! Oh my gosh. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, I think if I die again, we're just going to call it, because I have a feeling I'm going to be here a while. Oh my god. Okay, that was unplanned. Seriously? Come on. Alright. I think we're going to call it there. That is Super Monkey Ball running on the Dolphin emulator on the MoneyGram Kiosk PC. And yeah, I mean, there you have it. I think that is pretty much going to wrap it up for this episode. Definitely an obscure, kind of weird, specific computer that we've taken a look at here. But like I said at the beginning of this episode, this is probably like my favorite genre of technology to explore, because it just really feels like we're kind of peeking behind the curtain a little bit, you know, seeing a side of these systems that most people never get to see. And it was super cool seeing how they assembled this thing and, you know, what software came on it. And, of course, it was really fun messing around with it and playing a couple games on here as well. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, maybe consider becoming a patron or a channel member to get early and sponsor-free access to these videos before anybody else. But either way, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.